Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the return of the long-range Model 3 with one big change, Tesla's new Model Y out of Berlin, Tesla's Lithium Lab, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla is reportedly building a new lithium lab in Sparks, Nevada, just outside of Reno. A new permit application filed by Tesla reads, quote, "tenant improvement projects for the purpose of a manufacturing R&D lithium lab facility. The scope of work includes mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and minor architectural upgrades to support tool installation and process optimizations." There aren't many details beyond that concerning the purpose of the new facility, but Tesla has said in the past that they were planning on getting into the lithium refining business, and they have been working towards that goal. Back in 2020, they announced they'd be using a new technique to mine lithium in Nevada, but we haven't heard much about those efforts since then. Previously, they seem to have been replaced by a new lithium refinery in Corpus Christi, Texas, where they've been hiring recently. What they're working on there is a new processing technique that aims to turn lithium into battery-grade lithium hydroxide. At Investor Day, Tesla said they're currently focused on scaling their production capacity 10 times by the end of the decade. One way they plan to do this is to become even more vertically integrated by getting more involved in their battery supply chain, meaning they will become their own lithium supplier eventually. This new lab outside Reno isn't part of Gigafactory Nevada, where they manufacture a lot of their battery cells, but it is conveniently close, although they are expanding Giga Nevada as well at the same time. There haven't been any official announcements regarding how this new lithium lab will interact with Tesla's other projects, but it would make sense that it will involve some collaboration with Giga Nevada. New R&D is always good news for new battery technology. Next up today, Tesla posted recently that the Model Y all-wheel drive is the most efficient electric SUV ever built, referencing their latest impact report. In this chart, Tesla compares the Model Y all-wheel drive to the Volkswagen ID.4, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Jaguar I-Pace, and Audi e-tron. The Model Y has a 20% higher efficiency rating than the next most efficient car in the graphic, the Volkswagen ID.4. Many factors can impact efficiency, including design, wind, and temperature, but these vehicles are all theoretically being tested in similar conditions by the EPA. In practice, efficiency and range also change over time, and automakers have had to come up with solutions for these range-reducing problems. In the case of low temperature causing range loss, Tesla came up with a heat pump design that gave the Model Y a heat pump system to quickly precondition the battery in cold weather that was more integrated and efficient. While efficiency has always been a priority for Tesla, and they make some of the most efficient cars on the market, the statistic they shared on Twitter isn't necessarily true. Funny enough, the rear-wheel drive Model Y is actually more efficient. Unfortunately, they don't currently offer that configuration in the US though. So this is just a semantic issue because they probably meant to say the Model Y is the most efficient electric all-wheel drive SUV ever built. The EVs they're comparing in this graph are all all-wheel drive, so that's the explanation that makes the most sense to me. Tesla used to only post official announcements on Twitter, but they've been posting a lot more since Elon's acquisition. Next up today, Tesla has reintroduced the long-range Model 3 in the US. They grayed out the option for the long range in their configurator back in August after the waitlist for that car got so long. It's also worth noting that car is manufactured at Tesla's Fremont factory, where they've reportedly been running out of room. Now, after saying available in 2023 for 9 months, it's back. It looks like it may be returning though, with lithium iron phosphate battery cells made in China. That's the battery chemistry the standard range uses, but this could also be a new chemistry based off of LFP. Our first piece of evidence is that the long range is listed at having a range of 325 plus miles. That's a reduction from the previously listed 358 miles on this car. LFP batteries are cheaper and less energy dense, so that could be an explanation as to why this range has decreased. Our next piece of evidence is that this car now only qualifies for half of the US EV tax credit. The requirements to qualify for the Inflation Reduction Act tax credit are that the car must be assembled in North America and must source 40% of its critical minerals from the US or free trade countries. 50% of its battery components must also be built in North America. Those are the percentages for now, but the plan is for those numbers to increase as time goes on. The standard range Model 3 only qualifies for half of the credit because it gets its LFP batteries from CATL, which is a Chinese battery supplier. It would make sense then that the long range only qualifies for half for the same reasons. If Tesla is using this same battery supplier, that would explain it. Now the only Model Y that still gets the full $7,500 credit is the performance model, which you could get as low as $45,740 after the credit. Regardless of the new Model 3's battery chemistry though, Tesla's pricing strategy for it is somewhat interesting interesting. The long range and performance are priced $6,000 apart now, so after incentives, the performance is only $2,250 more than the long range. This is a much smaller gap than it was before, so we might see demand for the performance rise a little bit. That's $2,250 for the 20-inch Uber turbine wheels, performance brakes, and all of the other performance upgrades it brings. Of course, if you're like me and would rather have the longer range and smoother ride and cash in your pocket, it may not be worth it, but if you qualify for all the incentives, it may work for you. Regardless, I won't be surprised if this strategy does end up increasing demand for the performance model, which could be their goal here. This pricing also means that right now, after incentives, a long-range Model Y is actually cheaper than a long-range Model 3. It's a little odd to me that they do that, but it's possible the target demo for Model 3 buyers and Model Y buyers don't overlap enough for it to actually matter. Either way, from what we've seen in their configurator, it appears Tesla will be releasing the long-range Model 3 soon with a new battery chemistry, and if it is LFP, there are pros and cons to that. They're less energy dense, but they're cheaper and don't require cobalt, a mineral that has been proven to be difficult to mine ethically. LFP batteries degrade more slowly as well, so they'll last longer, but they won't do as well in lower temperatures. What's interesting there is that if you click on feature details, it still says, for the best long-range driving experience in the coldest driving conditions, we recommend a long-range or performance Model 3. If LFP batteries perform worse in cold weather, it would be weird for Tesla to recommend them for cold environments, so this could be a hint that the long-range Model 3 does not have LFP batteries. That said, we're at least confirmed that this new battery is not coming from the United States and won't be made by Tesla in the United States. CATL themselves will be making a more energy-dense version of LFP soon, adding manganese, so the long-range Model 3 could be using these new LMFP cells. Whatever these batteries are, the Model 3 long range is available for order now, with delivery slated for June, which is a relatively quick turnaround. This isn't the long-awaited refreshed Model 3, but it's at least something new for prospective buyers to choose from. Speaking of Tesla's batteries, they've reportedly started manufacturing Model Ys at Giga Berlin with batteries made by BYD in China. Of the 3 Model Y variants Tesla offers in Germany, the rear-wheel drive configuration is the only one that's imported from Gigafactory Shanghai. That would mean the rear-wheel drive Model Y has a lithium iron phosphate battery made by CATL. According to Tesla Mag, a German publication, industry sources have said the rear-wheel drive Model Y has been produced regularly in Grünheide for the past week. This has reportedly always been the plan for this car, to produce it with a structural battery pack in Germany. That's interesting because the other Model Ys that were supposed to be produced in Berlin would have used a structural battery pack with Tesla's 4680 cells. One explanation for this could be that Tesla's battery production hasn't been growing at the same rate as their Model Y production, so they've had to add a new battery supplier for now. BYD being a new battery supplier for Tesla means this new Model Y may come with slightly worse specs. Reportedly, it'd be made with a 55 kilowatt-hour battery capacity and 440 kilometers of WLTP range, which translates to 273 miles or about 223 miles EPA. That's a little lower than the imported Model Ys with CATL batteries we're getting, so that suggests a less dense battery chemistry. This is similar to what we're hearing about with the reintroduction of the Tesla Model 3 in the US with CATL batteries. They're definitely rethinking their battery strategy as production continues to ramp. If this report is accurate and no configuration of the Model Y is being shipped from Gigafactory Shanghai to Berlin anymore, then this would allow Tesla to divert that production capacity to other markets. That could also be a problem for them though if there isn't demand to match this new Model Y supply in China. Tesla hasn't confirmed that BYD will be supplying their batteries, but we have heard rumors of the partnership before. In August of last year, Sina Tech, a publication in China, reported that BYD Blade batteries had already started delivering at Giga Berlin. Then shortly after, Tesla received EU approval to make the Model Y with those batteries. It makes sense that their next step is to actually start using them if these are Blade batteries. Tesla Mag also leaked documents hinting that the Netherlands Vehicle Authority, RDW, had granted approval for a new type of Model Y with BYD batteries around the same time. What makes this interesting is that the media tends to portray Tesla and BYD as bitter rivals because BYD also makes EVs and the EV market in China is highly competitive. Elon Musk denied that back in April, saying relations between Tesla and BYD are positive. That was in response to a report from Korean Economic Daily that suggested Tesla wouldn't be working with BYD anymore to develop this technology. Whether this is a long or short-term solution for Tesla's battery needs, it's what Tesla needs in order to keep ramping production. It also means more Model Ys are being produced in Germany instead of China, which should help wait times in the European market. Next up today, we have some good news for the Tesla Semi. We often talk about the growing popularity of EV adoption in terms of consumer vehicles, but every other industry involving internal combustion engines are being revolutionized as well. The California Air Resources Board recently held a vote to finalize its Advanced Clean Fleets regulation, which impacts medium and heavy-duty fleet vehicles. They voted unanimously to pass the new rule, which requires all medium and heavy-duty vehicles sold or registered in the state of California to be zero emission by 2036. This comes after their Advanced Clean Trucks rule adopted in 2020, which established manufacturer requirements. As a result of these new regulations, the CARB expects, quote, nearly half of all semi-trucks that travel on its highways will be zero emission by 2035, and about 70% will be zero emission by 2042, with the eventual goal of 100% by 2045. There are currently 5 companies manufacturing electric semis in the US, and the Tesla Semi is by far the longest range, which will likely be the most important factor buyers consider when investing in this tech. Another factor is charging times. The stats here aren't consistent, but it looks like most US manufacturers claim 80% of range can be regained in 1 or 2 hours, whereas Tesla claims 70% can be regained in as little as half an hour. That'll be huge for Tesla, assuming their trucks actually charge twice as fast as the competition. These new regulations are going to inspire a lot of companies to make the switch, and when they do, Tesla will likely be the most desirable option. Assuming they can keep up with demand, my prediction is that the Tesla Semi business is going to take off in the coming years, especially in California. Rivian has rolled out a new over-the-air software update that adds functions to the GearGuard app. Like Tesla, Rivian releases new over-the-air software updates regularly, and some of the most important ones have been range increases, the addition of camp mode, which levels the truck on uneven ground, and kneel mode, which lowers the truck to make getting in and out easier. Recently, Rivian's head of software said a big towing update would be coming this summer, and he hinted at this new GearGuard update. Now, Rivian has released that update, and it adds several new features, including a 360-degree drive cam and incidents options, which enables owners to record and save footage from their external cameras. When you open the app, Drive Cam says record your whole drive to your storage device and capture 2-minute clips on demand. You just need to hook up a drive that's at least 128 gigabytes. GearGuard used to only record incidents while parked, but now it can record in motion. You just have to tap the Save Clip button on the center display, and GearGuard will save the last 2 minutes. They'll be available in the car, or you can download them to your external drive. In their blog post, Rivian says you can use this feature to record anything you want to remember, like scenic drives, but incidents can be used in worst-case scenarios, like road accidents where liability needs to be proven. They say, quote, when incidents is on, GearGuard cameras continuously record video, but no footage is saved. Incidents constantly monitor vehicle dynamics to identify incidents, and if one occurs, saves video of the event. They say an example that would trigger this is slamming on your brakes. Incidents will automatically save the first 15 seconds of video that was recorded prior to the event, as well as the next 1 minute 45 seconds directly to the vehicle's internal hard drive. In addition to this super helpful update, they've added a lot of other features too. Rivian's support advisors are now available through live chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are more options to customize your charging limit and schedule. Driver Plus works under more conditions. You can name your vehicle, and there's a new service mode for technicians. A lot of those are updates to the Rivian app, but the GearGuard update is rolling out to the R1T and R1S now. I received it in my R1T a couple days ago, and I just need to plug in a drive in order to enable incidents. It's good to see another EV maker constantly improving their vehicles with over-the-air software updates, and hopefully this will become standard practice for all EV makers in the future. NIO has announced and begun deliveries of their new electric EC7 Coupe SUV, which will be in direct competition with the Polestar 3 in the premium electric SUV segment. They unveiled the car back in December during NIO Day 2022, and they claim it features market-leading aerodynamics and efficiency with a drag coefficient as low as 0.23 CD. This electric SUV is a mid to large size coupe on NIO's second-gen NT 2.0 tech platform. It has 3 battery options, 75, 100, or 150 kilowatt hours, delivering up to 228 miles, 296 miles, and 438 miles EPA, based on their CLTC estimates. It starts around $70,599 US, with the higher spec trims being $83,620 US. Some luxury features will include smart matrix LED headlights with LiDAR and an active spoiler that can reduce drag by 4% in eco mode. For the interior, the EC7 includes a panoramic sunroof with smart electrochromic glass, sports seats with zero gravity mode, which lets you recline with your feet up, and a second-gen digital cockpit. All trims will be all-wheel drive, and it's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, or 0 to 62 miles per hour, is 3.8 seconds. This car has some pretty impressive specs, especially when it comes to range, and should be plenty competitive with the Polestar 3, which starts at about $101,000, though that car delivers a little more power. This NIO is also very competitive with a lot of other cars, especially when it comes to range, so I'm curious to see it. NIO has also announced that they expect to achieve their goal of becoming profitable this year, which is a huge step for any EV startup. Riding on that news, NIO's CEO has said the company will be launching 2 new brands targeting the European market to fill the growing need for small and compact EVs with a target price below 30,000 euros or around $33,165. He called out VW specifically, saying, quote, "As far as the price is concerned, we are attacking Volkswagen more than before. Those brands will first target European countries with mass market cars, starting with France, Italy, and Spain." Regarding NIO's competition with Tesla, he said the alleged price war that has been causing many automakers in China to drop their prices is not something NIO will participate in. He cites their high price as an asset, saying a good car has to have its price, especially in the premium segment. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest with Tesla's pricing strategy, which was a recent price increase, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.